This is the Yankees POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Yankees. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yankees have taken the first two from the Kansas City Royals. They won Monday. They won Tuesday. Tonight, the final score was 4-2. Max Fried gets the win. He's now 3-0 in a Bombers uniform. Fried, 6 2/3, strikes out 7. But the star was Jasson Dominguez. He got the start in left field. His defense has been better. How about 3 hits, 3 huge RBIs? And again, the Yankees win at 4-2. We'll get into Fried and we'll get into the Martians. The Bombers go for the sweep tomorrow night. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Hope you can join me on Twitter as well. At Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Yankees postcast, both on the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel and the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to chat after every game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we start, let's let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. As we said, 4-2, the final score. The Yanks are now 2 for 2 against Kansas City, and they certainly have the Royals number if you think back to the division series last year as well. However, we have 2 stars today. We'll start with the pitching, and that's Max Fried, who, of course, is now 3-0 and simply put, the best Yankee pitcher right now. 6 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Did allow a home run to MJ Melendez, but obviously not much after that. Fried wanted the final out in the 7th inning. You could tell him, or you could at least tell when Aaron Boone came out to get him. Looks like Fried said, I got him, as if to say, give me this chance to get the final out of the inning. Boone said no. On to Luke Weaver, who did the job as well. And Devin Williams gets the job done in the 9th inning. We'll get to the bullpen coming up. So that was the pitching star of the night. As we said, Fried, 6 2/3, struck out 7. What's interesting about his start was, for the most of the night, at least into the 6th inning, Kansas City had a lead. So things really changed in the 6th inning, obviously, with the big bases clearing double from Jasson Dominguez. Now, Dominguez, as we said, was 3 for 3 with the 3 ribs. In the bottom of the 6th, the bases clearing double for Dominguez, and they talked about it on the broadcast tonight. Kay, Cone, and O'Neill, perhaps his signature moment of the season, perhaps his signature moment as a Yankee. We'll have to wait and see, but early returns are, it might just well be. His first career multi-RBI hit versus a lefty. Remember, this came as him batting righty. So very interesting at bat there. Perhaps what's more interesting is that Dominguez, despite the fact that the Yankees had a 4-2 lead, would have gotten an extra at bat. However, he was replaced after that 6th inning for defense. Trent Grisham came into play center. Cody Bellinger moved from center to left, so Dominguez comes out, and of course, you knew it, Grisham would have an at-bat later on in place of Dominguez. Now, he earned a walk, did Grisham, in that at-bat, but again, we would have liked to see Dominguez get a 4th at-bat, but we've seen the defensive replacements many times, and considering the start for Trent Grisham, it's no sin getting Grisham an extra at-bat as well. So, there's good and bad. There's give and take to it. Yes, you would have liked to see Dominguez get a 4th at bat, a chance at a 4th hit. However, in a 2-run game at that point, it's all about defense, specifically up the middle. So we move Bellinger from center to left. We add Grisham off the bench into center, and Dominguez comes out. And obviously didn't hurt anybody because Luke Weaver in an inning and a third, and Devin Williams, 3 up, 3 down in the 9th. Well, they combined to not allow a base runner. In fact, Weaver, who registered 4 outs, and Williams, who registered 3 outs, did so. That's a combined 7 outs on just 27 total pitches combined. Luke Weaver threw 11 pitches, 10 for strikes. That's a strike machine. And believe it or not, Devin Williams, his first 1-2-3 inning in a Yankees uniform, locks down his third save. Believe it or not, lowers his ERA to 6. Again, Devin Williams gets the save on a 1-2-3 ninth inning. As for Fried, we told you he's now 3-0, 6 2/3, struck out 7. He threw 94 pitches. His ERA now at 1.88, actually goes up with those 2 earned runs. Aaron Judge had 2 more hits. Obviously, Dominguez had 3. The only other Yankee with a hit was Anthony Volpe. Yanks had just 6 hits on the night, and that includes the bases clearing double from Dominguez. So again, Aaron Judge had 2, Jasson Dominguez had 3, Anthony Volpe had 1. No other hits from any other Yankee. But again, they didn't need to bat the ball around the yard, if you will, because of the pitching of Max Fried, who allowed just 5 hits. Michael Wacha had things on lockdown early, but then we reached that fateful 6th inning. It's almost like once you got to the third time around the order, the fateful third time around the order, and the Yankees stuck it to Wacha, who takes the loss. 5 2/3, actually pitched better than I thought he was going to pitch. Only threw 80 pitches, 3 earned runs, but again, not enough, as the bullpen of Kansas City did not get the job done. So again, Yankees win at 4-2. They're 10-7 overall, 7-4 at home, and they'll go for the sweep on Wednesday. We'll get to that in a moment, because it involves, of course, Clarke Schmidt in a very interesting pitching matchup against Kansas City's Chris Bubich, who's been excellent. His ERA under 1 so far. And again, Clarke Schmidt will get his first start of the season. All right, Aaron Judge, believe it or not, and they talked about this on the broadcast as well, hard to believe, entered tonight 1 for 21 with 12 strikeouts against Michael Wacha, who, to be fair, not Cy Young material. He's had a pretty good career. He's going to make some money, but he's certainly no Pedro Martinez. The fact that he has dominated Aaron Judge for the better part of 3 or 4 seasons, pretty remarkable. Well, Judge snapped that 1 for 21 with his first inning single, and then would single again later. So both those hits coming off of Michael Wacha. Perhaps it's a new Aaron Judge now that he can get to Michael Wacha again, snapping a 1 for 21 skid. Now, the Yankees tonight did not hit a home run, but entering tonight, they had 32 home runs on the season, the most through 16 games in franchise history. Coincidentally, it's also the most through 17 games in franchise history. So for at least one more day, the Yankees will have that record, franchise record, at 32. What's also interesting about Kansas City is they tend to play low-scoring games, and they have so this season. They're 8-10, 2-6 away. They've scored 3 or fewer runs now in 16 games. So the Yankees did exactly what you expected them to do. Hold down the Royals, score enough to win, give the support to Max Fried, turn it over to Luke Weaver, who in turn turns it over to Devin Williams. Tic-tac-toe, game over. And that's exactly how the Yankees drew it up, and that's exactly how it went down. 6 2/3 for Fried, an inning and a third for Weaver, Williams with a perfect ninth, and away we go. Yanks again are now 10-7. We'll take a break. We've got a big update on Giancarlo Stanton, and of course, we'll get to the probables, which include, believe it or not, for the first time this season, Clarke Schmidt. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com, claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, next up is Prize Picks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are here, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. If you can combine players across sports, you're all in. Basketball, hockey, baseball, and more, all for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Here's what I'm picking this week. Luka Doncic for more than 28. Jason Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. From hockey, Connor McDavid for more than 1 goal and Austin Matthews for more than 5 shots on goal. What I love is how easy it is to set up your lineup in under 60 seconds. Prize Picks even runs cool promos like Taco Tuesday, where they discount player projections up to 25% for even more value. And payouts are fast, safe, and secure. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, we're back. Final segment of the show. Max Fried, Jasson Dominguez, the pitching and hitting stars, respectively, of the night, as the Yankees beat the Kansas City Royals for a second consecutive night. Tonight was 4-2. As we said, the Bombers are now 10-7 after back-to-back wins. They'll go for the sweep on Wednesday. That's a night game, and it's the first of 2 consecutive prime games. So take note. Wednesday against Kansas City in the Bronx, a prime game. And then we'll get to the schedule coming up Thursday at GMS in Tampa against the Rays. Remember, those are road games. Those are Tampa home games. And that Thursday game will also be a prime game. All right, Giancarlo Stanton expected to travel with the Yanks to Tampa to continue his rehab. Remember, it's both elbows. There is no timetable for his return at this point, but the fact that he's traveling with the team, probably a pretty good note there. So, as for the probables, we told you about Clark Schmidt and Chris Bubich. They will start tomorrow. The Yankees then have 4 in Tampa at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Tampa will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday will be Warren and Bradley. Friday will be Rodon and Rasmussen. Saturday, Carrasco and Boz. And then Sunday, Fried and Pepio. So really, you're going to get the best of the Rays rotation. But of course, before we get there, need to close out things in style with a sweep. And the Yankees will give the ball once again to Clark Schmidt, who is making his initial start, his season debut. And it couldn't come soon enough. Obviously, the bottom of the rotation, with the exception of the Carlos Carrasco start yesterday, the bottom of the rotation has been pretty bad. Obviously, Max Fried's been brilliant at the top. But again, we don't have Cole. We don't have Heel. And until tomorrow, we don't have Schmidt. So it'll be good to have Clark Schmidt back. All right, as we said, Kansas City Royals, a low-scoring outfit. They have scored now 3 or fewer runs in 16 games. And the Yankees did exactly that to Kansas City once again. Excellent pitching. The triumvirate, the trifecta of Max Fried, Luke Weaver, and Devin Williams, as perfectly as you could draw it up. Well, Fried, 6 2/3, wanted the last out in the 7th. Aaron Boone wouldn't give it to him. Why not? Well, because he's got Luke Weaver coming in. Weaver threw 11 pitches, recorded 4 outs, 1 ball, threw just 1 ball. As for Devin Williams, some hard hit balls in the 9th, but again, got the job done. 1, 2, 3, his 3rd save to go along with Fried's 3rd win. And again, the Yankees very nicely are now 10-7 and 7-4 at home. All right, as we said, tomorrow is Kansas City, prime game, 4 in Tampa, then 3 in Cleveland before we return home for 3 against Toronto. All right, thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also want to mention our partners in crime, Stacey Gatsoulias and Brian McKeon. They handle all the stuff at Locked On Yankees. They're the best. So subscribe, follow, and enjoy. As we said, Yankees beat the Kansas City Royals 4-2. Max Fried, 6 2/3, struck out 7. Devin Williams earns his third save, a perfect 1-2-3 ninth. Yanks will go for the sweep tomorrow against Kansas City. Again, Clark Schmidt to make his season debut. We'll have all the reaction immediately following Yanks and Royals on Wednesday night. Have a good night, everyone.